Hello, today we're going to be talking about dimension groups and dimension structures. So in Sage Intacct, a dimension group is it's a set of members in a dimension that can be grouped together. They can be created for any dimension group, for your standard dimensions. So class, customers, vendors, locations, departments, that sort of thing. So what it allows you to do is really group together your dimensions and use them as filters on financial reports, financial graphs, even general ledger reports or dashboards. You can even take advantage of them to post statistical journal entries automatically, like a dimension count, for example. You're able to control the order in which the members of that group appear. And it just really allows you some more control over how you're going to report on your data in Sage Intacct. So, if you have 10 different um, entities or locations, you're able to group those 10 together all as one, a couple here, a couple there, maybe as regions, that sort of thing. So it's pretty helpful in that sense. Something that kind of stems from dimension groups are dimension structures. And what dimension structures allow you to do is it allows you to use these groups of dimensions on rows or columns of the financial report. So for example, here I'm going to show you an example of just a report that is expanded. It's a P&L that's just expanded by a location group. And you can see here I've chosen all of my US locations. And then what happens on that report is that I have a column for each of those locations. So let me see. Here is the financial report. In that column, I'm expanded by those locations. It is just one column on that financial report. And then whenever I actually run the report, I see four different columns. So, three of those make up that grouping. Now, what's nice about these is that they really can help you. So if you add a location or an entity in your environment, what will happen if it's added to that dimension group, then all of a sudden every report that is expanded by locations and that location grouping, you're going to see those automatically. So it really helps with maintenance and really makes maintenance efficient within Sage Intacct. Now, I mentioned dimension structures here, and on this report, you can see here that I have a revenue trend report. So I actually have revenue in the columns, but I can see the trends based on these dimensions. So if I go look at the build out of this report, I can see that in my rows, I have chosen dimension structures. So I've chosen all of my operating locations. I've chosen my service lines, my items, my tasks. Those are all dimensions in Sage Intacct. And then on this report, I can see the revenue by those dimensions, with those dimensions being the rows of that report. So that is really where the dimension structure comes in. And that's the difference between a dimension group and a dimension structure. A dimension group is just a grouping that can be used for filtering on financial reports, whereas dimension structures are groups that can be used as rows or columns in your financial report. So let's talk about now, how do we build these out? So if I go to my menu and I go to reports in the setup tab, I can create dimension groups. So I have all the dimensions that are available to make a grouping for, whether it's location or customer, vendor, any of those types of things. And you can see here, I have different groups. You can check out the members over here. So this group, North America, has all my North American companies in it in this environment. And then I have my USA all locations. You can see that there's 3 members here, 1, 2, and a holding company. And then just my operating US locations, I have 2 members as part of that grouping. So again, any slicing and dicing of your dimensions and grouping those together, you're able to do that. You can see here that I have all of these groups set up as structures. That way I can use them as rows or columns on a report. So if I wanted to add a new location group or any type of group, you just hit the add button, or from the setup menu, whenever you go to dimension groups, hit that plus sign over there and it'll bring you to the screen. You're going to give it an ID. This ID is what you are going to see whenever you are, let's see if I can get this filter to pull up. This ID is going to be what you see right here. So USA, all locations, that is the ID. My ID is 100, for example, here. So that's what it'll look like in a list view. So go ahead, give your location group an ID, and then you can go ahead and give it a name. I'm just going to say test dimension group. And then from here, you can select a location group contact. Again, a reminder, if you ever need any help, anything that's underlined or has a question mark next to it, you can click on that to get some more information about it. So you can, these are optional if they do not have an asterisk next to it. And then what you can do is you can choose whether you want all of your locations to be a part of this group, or if you want to select some specific members. So I'm going to go ahead, select some specific members here. And then this is where I could choose my different locations. So maybe I just wanted all of my elimination entities as a group. Not that you would actually do that, but you get what I'm doing here. So you can slice and dice your members up here. This will be the order that you would see them on the report, so you can move those around. And then what we do recommend whenever creating a dimension group is to go ahead and make it a dimension structure as well. Again, this is just going to allow you to use this as rows or columns on those financial reports, as I showed you earlier. In our next video, we're going to go over filters and how those could be useful in building out your location groups or your dimension groups. So I'll see you in the next video.